We can blow the shofar.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6, verse 4. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord.
Shema Yasha'ala Yahweh Elohayna wa Yahweh Akkad. Shema Yasha'ala Yahweh Elohayna wa Yahweh Akkad. Shema Yasha'ala Yahweh Elohayna wa Yahweh Akkad.
Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord.
You're going to recite in ancient Hebrew the Our Father's Prayer.
Abanawa,
Shabbat
Shamayim,
Shemayim,
Kadash, Hayah,
Hayah,
Shemka, Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Malakwatka,
Malawaka,
Taba'ah,
Taba'ah,
Ratazaka,
Ratazaka,
Hayah,
Hayah,
Aisha,
Aisha,
Barataza,
Barataza,
Kawa,
Kawa,
Hayah,
Hayah,
Bashamayim,
Bashamayim,
Nathanawa,
Nathanawa,
Lacham,
Lacham,
Kaliwam,
Kalawam,
Wasalakinawa,
Wasalakinawa,
Kasalakinawa,
Kasalakinawa,
Kabawabinawa,
Kawawakinawa,
Wala'ah,
Wala'ah,
Tubayinawa,
Kabayinawa,
Banasanyawan,
Bansayawan,
Abal,
Abal,
Awashayinawa,
Awashayinawa,
Mayan,
Mayan,
Rai,
Rai,
Hayah,
Hayah,
Laka,
Laka,
Amalakwat,
Amalakwa,
Wa'ala,
Wa'ala,
Wata'aparaf,
Wata'aparaf,
Lawalamyam,
Lawalamyam,
Aman.
Aman. And in English, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive our trespasses as we forgive those that trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Hallelujah. Give the Most High praise. Hallelujah. Sounding good. Sounding good. I know. I see people practicing for real. Like, Benjamin up day and night. Like, gotta beat sounds wrong. So sorry. Oh man. All praises. All praises.
Bluetooth disconnected.
Okay. Happy Sabbath, family.
Happy Sabbath.
Happy Sabbath, family.
Happy Sabbath.
Happy Sabbath. First and foremost, we'd like to give all praises and glory to Abanawa, Yahweh, Bahashem, Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai. We're going to give all praises to God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in the name of the anointed Savior, call of Mashiach, Yahweh Shai. Peace and blessings. I'm your brother, Bishop Josiah, the overseer of True Hebrews Under God, out here in Canada. And to my left,
Zaina.
My lovely wife reading for me once again. So we're gonna not go into, we're gonna take a break off Ezra today. And hold on one second. I don't think this camera is on. Okay, that looks okay. Yeah. Let me make sure. Okay. Hey, Reggie, you plug this in. You better check that. Yeah, plug it in.
It's about to die quickly.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Okay, so happy Sabbath to the brothers and sisters tuning in on YouTube and also on Facebook. Pray every wonderful Sabbath, keeping holy, constantly striving for perfection these latter days. We got to get as close as possible and build a closer relationship to the Most High as possible so that we can be protected in these last days. So we're going to talk about today. The title of the class is How to Get Away with Murder. How to get away with murder. The Rittenhouse edition. That's how you say his name? Rittenhouse? Kyle? I can't pronounce that. My accent is too crazy. That sounds too white. Like Cal. Yeah, I can't pronounce that. I don't know. Yeah. Cowbunger. Yeah. So, everybody, could you read about the thing, my love?
So the story is that basically in 2020, a young 17-year-old white boy from Illinois drove across the state to Wisconsin to go to the Black Lives Matter rally, who were protesting because pretty much there was a young man out there walking in the street and the police shot him in the back in front of his kids and he was paralyzed. So pretty much he claimed that he was going there to protect businesses. He claimed he was going there because he was an EMT. Police gave him water. They treated him special. He was even told thanks for coming, all these different things. And later on that day, he murdered protesters with an AK or an AR-15. Crossed the border or of the state with an AR-15 at 17 years old. And pretty much he walked straight past the police with his guns. I'm pretty sure everyone's seen the famous picture of him in his green shirt with the rifle just walking. Went into his car calmly and drove home like nothing happened. He got to sleep, nothing, and then they arrested him later on. So the question is, what is a 17-year-old boy going across the state with a rifle? And pretty much he got acquitted on all 5 charges yesterday, including the one with reckless endangerment, all the charges pertaining to him.
And the main one, which was murder, right?
And he testified that it was self-defense when he shot and killed 2 people. He wounded a person. He attempted to shoot more people, during the protest. And the thing about it is, what was he doing here at this protest? What was his intention? If people are marching because they shot this innocent Black man named Jacob Blake in the back, what is this guy doing here saying he's going to protect businesses, pretending that he's an EMT, lying to people, saying, oh, I'm here to help, if anybody needs help, I have medication and Band-Aids and different things on site. And he wasn't there to support the movement, so what was he there to do? There was an intent behind what he did.
So sometimes like he could have been hired too. But he's 17, right? Who knows? Because that just sounds crazy how he got acquitted on all 5 charges. 17-year-old crossing the borders with assault rifle. Come on.
And so, do anybody know the state laws? Like, how old can you be in Wisconsin? I believe it's 18, right? So I'm very, very familiar with Wisconsin, right? It's right next door to, my state, right? I went to college in Wisconsin. I actually played when I was playing basketball and so forth. We actually played. We had like a some type of tournament in that city, right? So it's definitely a small racist town. Right, Wisconsin is very, very racist. As guys like, yes, it is. Yes, I've heard them days, right? Yeah, you've been there a few times. It's definitely racist. Like, so when people lie and say the North was not racist, it was just the South. That's a lie. The North is just as bad as the South, right? And maybe maybe even worse, because they can get away with more, because if they can convince you that it's friendly white people up here and black people run from the south up to the north and get the same treatment, right?
And just as we're speaking about these Edomites coming in and looking for problems, we have on our live right now Edomites coming in who we've never seen before to defend this person, as you guys can see on Facebook, talking about all these different things. So shalom to you guys. You're about to learn about you today.
No shalom to them. Judgment upon these. So he is now free. There's no there's no accountability to the person who murdered people, right? So this white man's kingdom is also too, if you see it, it's not just, it's being divided. Even with this whole COVID thing, this pandemic, whatever, it's being divided where half of their kingdom is for it, half of their kingdom is against it, right? So this white man's kingdom is being divided, and it will never stand, right? So just like the civil rights movement, all like you, because people would say, oh, it was white people that he killed and so forth. But there was white people that was supporting a black cause. Mm-hmm. You have to look at it, right? And it was those particular two individuals that was at the wrong place at the wrong time. What about those was some brothers there? It was, brothers all around, sisters all around. But that's how you know Esau's kingdom is tumbling down, because his house is divided, right? Because if they're willing to kill their own, right? It's just like in the civil rights movement. You had so-called white people trying to fight up and help black people get their rights. And what was happening to those white people? They was getting beat up too. They was getting arrested too. Some of them was getting murdered too. Why? Because Esau was looking at them like, yo, you're an enemy because you defending our enemy, right? So because even though they was the same nation, because they was trying to help black people, now they was looked at as an enemy to their own people. So a lot of people are failing to realize that, these people, Esau will throw their own people under the bus, right? One of their head tribe is Amalek, the Jewish people, right? These people will sacrifice their own people just to get a land, right? They literally did a whole Holocaust type thing and killed their own people just to get some sympathy to be able to the land of Israel. So they'll sacrifice their own people. They don't care. And that's why if you ever see the videos of the Holocaust or whatever the case might be, the ones that looked wealthy, they didn't look scared. The ones that had the mink coats on and the long jackets, they didn't look scared. So they was willing to sacrifice the poor ones, right? And look at everybody else is going on, right? Kettle. That's what they say. You're kettle. We can kill you. We can do whatever you want to us. You're not human, right? So Mark chapter 3. Oh, go ahead, man.
And just one more thing too, for people who are thinking, okay, well, let's say he did do this in self-defense. There's a brother named Kyle who spent years upon years in Rikers Island for a backpack that they claim that he stole. And if anybody knows anything about Rikers Island, that's a very terrible prison in the States. He spent that time in prison and he didn't even steal the bag. 3.5 years for a bag he didn't steal.
A bag
he didn't steal.
$20.
But then you get to murder people. Even when you murder somebody by accident, there's a charge of manslaughter. Mm-hmm. But there's something else going on here.
And we can just quote it in Mark chapter 3, verse 24, referring to if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. So this is showing you Esau's kingdom is collapsing. It's been on a decline for years. And as we're seeing, it's continually declining until Christ Yahweh Shai comes to completely wipe it off the face of the earth and the rest of this wicked kingdom. So it's very interesting how people, I don't know if y'all saw the case and so forth, but you had the judge. This is how you know it was something crazy. The judge was like, he was like working for the young man. Like, oh no, you can't question him too much. You're questioning him. No, not that. Like, when have you ever seen a judge literally defend the person that's being accused of something? Go ahead, Didi. That's crazy.
What? He picked papers out of a hat.
Out of a hat, picked his jury.
Yes.
And the funny thing is,
Always.
that this is how the system is set up. And it just goes to show that we will never find favor in this system, because if you think about it, Kyle was on the stand crying. He looked so innocent. He was just a kid, but what about if you guys hear about the Central Park Five?
Yeah.
All those kids were younger than Kyle. And when they were crying on the stand, when they were saying we didn't do this, when they were pleading for their lives, they what happened to them? Nobody had sympathy for them. Nobody had sympathy, and they were put in prison for crimes they did not commit.
Done, and they was younger. So a lot of the things that's going on, you see the injustice that's going amongst our people. You will have judges that will see the same case within a few days apart, and a person will both be committed of charge of robbery. The Edomite will get probation. The black man 20 years. 20 years robbery, right? 30 years. So you just see. So the thing about it is, the question is, how do you get away with murder? Being white, that's one of them. Esau, this is his kingdom. Being white, another thing.
Cry.
Join the Illuminati. Join the Freemasonry, something, right?
Having money, links.
Having money. There's instances where people, I think a guy in Texas, a white man, got drunk and killed like 3-4 people and didn't get no time. He didn't even get paid probation, I don't believe. That man got scot-free because he had that money. So being white, fake cries. This man was, I think even LeBron James did something about him. Like, he got mad at LeBron James. Fake tears, right? Also being white again. That's another thing. Aaliyah? Saying this self-defense. That's another one. It's self-defense, but you remember that sister down in Florida when I think it was her husband or something, or somebody was trying to attack her and she shot a warning shot. And they gave her like 30 years. Yeah, she shot like a warning shot down in Florida. Like, I think she shot the ground on the wall or something. This happened a few years back. And they gave her 30 years just for shooting, just trying to defend herself. Like, when you see somebody, okay, let me give you a warning shot. Certain states, because not all states have the same laws, right? So you can be in one state, they can be like, okay, you can be 21 to have a gun or whatever. Go to the next state, it's totally different. You can have open carry in one state, you go to another state, it's not. So it's every state is different, right? But him being a 17-year-old man, you can't even carry a gun. So they didn't even charge him on having a weapon. He got free from every charge. Like, okay, for self-defense, whatever you want to do. But having a gun, crossing the border, like crossing from Illinois to Wisconsin, that's going against Wisconsin laws, right? So he should have been charged for something, but no, pretending to be an EMT. Lies. And this is how you know Esau's kingdom. So let's go to Zechariah chapter 11, verse 5. So we know, family, right? I think a lot of people thought that he was, killed our people and stuff, but he was killing, he killed 2 other Edomites. But like I said, he was there saying, I'm gonna protect the business. This is my job, to protect the business. You're 17 years old. It's not your job, right? And he's walking through the like, think about it. If you ever see all those videos where black people having the right to conceal, to walk down the street with an AR-15, and you see them, they guns pointing at them, get on the floor, get on the floor, get on the floor. Oh, YouTube, all those videos, I be watching all the time. But then you will see they actually do experiments where they'll do like the black people and then the white person, and the white person have an AR-15. The cop just come up to us nicely like, hey, how you doing? And so forth. We're getting calls about this and so forth. But the black person doing it's guns drawn, get on the floor. Some people even got shot because they was doing these type of things. When it's an open state, you can carry legally. You see what I'm saying? But that's how you know it's only dealing with if you are Esau. Esau can only do Esau type things in his kingdom. You being a brother, you being a black man, you can't do these things. You being a Hispanic brother, you can't do these type of things, right? So let's go to Zechariah chapter 11, verse 5.
Zechariah chapter 11, verse 5, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty.
That's right.
They kill us, family. They hold themselves not guilty. So names of unarmed black men and women that's killed and was held not guilty. You got Dante Wright, George Floyd, Sandra Bland, Philando Castro, Trayvon Martin, right? Mike Brown, Alton Sterling, Kareem Gaines, Tamir Rice. This is just a few. The list goes on and on and on. So remind you, the context, what's going on in the story? A white officer shoots a black man in the back in front of his kids, paralyze him from the waist down. So you have a bunch of people, they got the Black Lives Matter movement out there, right? They got them out here as well. These so-called Edomites is supposed to try to support the cause, and they're coming out here, whatever the case might be. But like I said, you going into support a black movement, you an enemy to your own people. And guess what? When he got put in jail, don't you know who was bonding him out? The white supremacist group, the KKK. They was raising up. They started a GoFundMe. The KKK, the white supremacist, a terrorist group, right? So let's go to Ecclesiastes Chapter 3, verse 16. This is interesting how these people hold themselves not guilty after all the murder and bloodshed that they're doing. They're killing our people constantly and lynching our people constantly, and they're being held not guilty. But that's only in Esau's kingdom, brothers and sisters. There is another judgment, a righteous judgment that everybody got to stand in front of. So don't worry about when these heathens getting let off on things, and we're thinking like, man, why these people, it's their kingdom. It's supposed to happen like this, but guess what? There's going to be a judgment for them. So Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 16.
And moreover, I saw under the sun the place of judgment, that wickedness was there, and the place of righteousness, that iniquity was there. I said in my heart, God shall judge the righteous and the wicked, for there is a time for every purpose and for every work. I said in my heart concerning the estate of the sons of men, that might manifest them, that they might.
We know we the sons of God, right? Go ahead.
And that they might see themselves are beasts.
So these nations, these people are what? Beasts. These are the beasts of the earth. These people are not normal. Because what type of people will come in and will take and continue to take?
And they have so much.
And you have so much. You be like, okay, what more do you want? Still till you get enough. Most people be like, okay, you go to a store, you grab one, bag of chips, you're a little hungry, let's say, you take some chips as a kid or some candy. They'll come and take everything. And they want to take the person's life that's there. That's the type of beast we're dealing with. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 4, verse 14. So there's a lot of injustice going on in the world. But the saints will get the last laugh, family. Proverbs chapter 4, verse 14.
Proverbs chapter 4, verse 14. Enter not into the path of the wicked, and go not into the way of the evil man. Avoid it, pass not by it. Turn from it and pass away. For they sleep not, except they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken away unless they cause some to fall. For they eat the bread of wickedness and drink the wine of violence.
So family, they can't help it but to do wickedness. It's embedded in them. They was created to be the wicked. So the heathens can't sleep until they do evil to us. That's how they sleep. That's how they get good sleep. They're like, how you get good sleep? Yeah, I just killed a couple of niggers. That's how they feel. I killed them, I lynched them, yes. I can sleep well now.
They have no soul, man.
They don't have no soul because if a person ever experienced death or witnessed death, yo, it does something to your mind. But it's like, oh, this is amazing. Let's do more. You're like, what the hell type of person is this? But because they're beasts, right? And you know us, like I don't like to even focus on Esau now. I like to just focus on our people. But when you see so much injustice, you're like, okay, let's take a time out for these heathens to make sure that our people understand these are our enemies, right? We have to understand who they are. And I'm not even big on focus on them. When I'm out there and about teaching, I don't focus on them. I'm strictly talking to the lost sheep, right? But it's times where you gotta, as a balance, you gotta speak up against the evildoers, right? You gotta rise up against these people, right? And when all hell breaks loose and so forth, the Lord will protect the righteous. Hopefully, give us that power, man. I would love to tear apart some man. Go to Isaiah chapter 3, verse 11.
The book of Isaiah chapter 3, verse 11. Woe unto the wicked, it shall be ill with him, for the reward of his hand shall be given him.
You see, so he was found just, innocent, not guilty in this kingdom family. But the kingdom to come, the Most High, the Lord has the final judge. So it's better to fall in the hands of man than to fall in the hands of the Almighty. So he's gonna be wishing, and all these other cops and all these other people, these nations gonna be wishing, Lord, can your people judge me? Because it's a terrible thing to fall in the hand of the Almighty, family. So they're gonna get judgment. Be patient, the patient of the saints. I know it bothers. I remember, like, in the earlier stage of True Hebrews under God and stuff out there in Minnesota and stuff, and then some of y'all that used to watch the earlier videos 8, 9 years ago, 7 years ago, that I kind of took down because I was like, okay, I can feel my act. But we used to, go out there and put some hands on Esau, right? And different things, because we was frustrated, right? We was angry. We was upset about what was going to our people and so forth. So at the time, we're a bunch of young brothers. I'm still a young brother and stuff. So we didn't have the understanding and stuff. So we thinking like, yeah, we can go, and we purposely wanted to go out there and stir up problems with Esau because we wanted to go to war, right? And so forth. But no, the Lord's like, okay, be patient. So I know when times when you see in these things, you want to take vengeance upon yourself and you want to, recompense them. It's like, no, you gotta have patience. Wait upon the Lord, right? He's going to give us, he's going to renew our strength. He's going to protect us. He's going to judge and so forth. So let's go to Sirach chapter 12, verse 10.
The book of Sirach, chapter 12, verse 10. Never trust thy enemy, for like iron rusteth, so is his wickedness.
And that's a key. We got to keep this in mind, brothers and sisters. Never trust thy enemies.
Sirach chapter 12, verse 10 was the last.
We cannot trust our enemies, brothers and sisters. We have to understand this. I don't care how much they try to laugh and smile and say, but we love you and we care for you, dude. Come hang with us. There's many people that hung with them that got lynched. Many people hung with them and got drugged or disappeared, fed to the alligators down in the south, drowned in the depths of the sea, got thrown overboard. They came with a bunch, or with a black brother, I believe, I forgot his name. He went out there on a boat party or something and didn't come back, right? A black sister went hiking with a cop and came back and she was not even found. So it's so much killing amongst our people and so forth. And the other nations are just seeing us as cattle, right? Let's go to Psalms chapter 5. But like I said, they're not guilty in their own kingdom. But what about when there's righteous judgment, when there's 24 righteous elders and it's a righteous council in a righteous courtroom.
Who you can't bribe.
You can't bribe, you can't plead, you can't have those tear eyes. Let me push one out. Give me some onion. You know, you can't do all that. When you standing before the Almighty and Yahweh shine the 24 elders, these you can't plead and beg and when it's too late, judgment is set. Everything that you've done on this earth will, on that day, you're gonna have to give an account for it. Con, Psalm chapter 5, verse 4.
The book of Psalms chapter 5 verse 4. For thou art not a God that hath pleasure in wickedness, neither shall evil dwell with thee. The foolish shall not stand in thy sight. Thou hatest all workers of iniquity.
The Lord hateth. But the Lord don't hate. John 3:6. The Lord hateth all workers of iniquity.
Thou shalt destroy them that speak leasing. The Lord will abhor the bloody and deceitful man.
You see that, family? It's the time of the destruction for the wicked is near. Hold on what you have. Let no man take your crown. Let no man deceive you, because we're closer than what we believe. Salvation is nearer than what we believe, family. So we got to make sure that we're staying strong and grounded in this faith and not turning to the right or to the left or looking back, but move forward, brothers and sisters, because time is coming to an end. The earth is crying. It needs a new rulership. It's crying out. The birds are saying, forget this. I'd rather die than breathe this air. So they're jumping out of the sky. Dolphins are jumping on the beach like, forget this. The water too dirty. Like, the fish is just, you know what I mean? They're like, forget this. I'm running away. What's made for the water is becoming land animals now. They said, forget this. I'm committing suicide. Because the waters is defiled. The air is everything is defiled. Do y'all be getting a notification on your phone? Do y'all ever get the notification on your phone to be talking about the air is polluted or something?
Only say the air is clean.
Huh?
Yeah, I got that.
Got that one, but now they be sending you. I don't know if y'all be reading it. It be telling you like the air is polluted. Like if you look on the weather thing. I mean, look on the weather little thing. It be like your air is contaminated. Yeah, I tell you that, right? Let's go to 1 John chapter 5, verse 19. The time of destruction, family, of the wicked is coming. Would you be sitting on the right hand side or the left hand side? That's your choice, brothers and sisters. But when Christ comes, he's going to separate everybody. Everybody, right? So 1 John chapter 5, verse 19. It's very important, brothers and sisters, live a righteous life. Do not get distracted in this kingdom. Esau will distract you. Esau's, he's a mastermind when it comes to distraction. He will deceive you and distract you because he wants you to burn with him. He wants you to burn with him. He wants you to like, yeah, come on. I know it's no fake for me. So guess what? You're going to burn with me, buddy. Right? 1 John 5 and 19.
The book of 1 John chapter 5 verse 19. And we know that we are of God, and the whole world lieth in wickedness.
You see that, family? We are the children of the Almighty. We are the children of the Most High. But we live in this world full of what? Wickedness. We live in a very wicked world. We must stand for righteousness, family, and prove our righteousness to who? The Lord. We must do this, family. It's very important. So when this whole world lies in wickedness, you're supposed to remain grounded in truth. You're supposed to be remaining faithful servants to the Lord. Don't see what the world doing. Oh, monkey see, monkey do. Let's follow the crowd. Don't follow a crowd to do wicked. Don't follow a multitude to do wickedness. That's law. That's Torah. But we don't supposed to follow a multitude to do wickedness. Keep the commandments and live, family. So you got people in courtrooms laying judgment when they themselves are wicked. What's going on? How the hell is these people calling themselves judges and lawyers and all this stuff when they themselves is abominations? They themselves is wicked. How the hell are you going to try to judge and they ain't right themselves? They're trying to uphold on you things that they themselves be doing. right? And it's crazy because there's no statute of limitation, especially in the States, when it comes to crime. And that means even if I commit a crime, I steal something, I pass it down to my descendants, they could be accessory to the crime. They can get put in jail. But guess what? All those people that inherit all that money from their ancestors, that rape, rob, pillage, guess what? Are they holding themselves accountable? So when people say, but there's one Esau out there.
But what about the Christians? Read the comments on YouTube. These are your white Christians in here defending murder.
Yes, you see that?
You should read their
What they
comments.
said. See what some of the Edomites are saying.
The Edomites, all right.
Let's hear what some of Esau is saying.
When you talked about George Floyd, they said he got what he deserved.
Oh.
All these type of people up on here, all these white Christians talking about we are blaspheming the word of the Lord.
Oh.
We are false prophets. Who defend murder?
You just gotta hear how they talk about like other groups of people, like when you're around, and then you know they talk about black people the same way.
Oh, come on.
When you work with them, you don't like them, but he does white people they can tolerate.
Mhm.
That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
Tolerate.
Because you gotta work with them. But you're like, But it's crazy, family, because that's what I'm saying. When people try to say, "Oh, these people are Christian," these people believe in white supremacy.
Mhm.
They believe in Christianity, upholding that white image, upholding that. As long as they're on ruling, yes, I would want to be a Christian and be your friend as well. Remind you, you're at the bottom. So when you're already at the bottom, yes, I would want to befriend you and want to be cool with you, because if I don't, they're gonna be like, I'm like, maybe these people will try to huddle up and rise up and try to take me down. So let me be friends with them. So that's the only problem. Once you destroy the people, enslave the people for 400 plus years, yes, you're gonna want to be cool. You already took everything they got. But now I can see them and say, okay, let's make it even. Okay, let me take all the things that I stole from your ancestors. Let me give it to you now. And let me work hard to build on my righteousness. Right. Well, do you think they will ever give you money like that? No. Hey, that's what I'm saying. It's injustice, right? They don't have that in them to be just. So they only claim to be Christians for their own benefit. They're only claiming to be Jews for their own benefit. It's not because they actually love the Lord. It's not because they love Christ. They don't care. When he was on the scene, they was persecuting them, willing to sacrifice them, right?
I was saying, what this man has a penis in his picture? What kind of people are these, man?
Proverbs 11, verse 21. Let's read that. These people, the wicked. But guess what? The wicked day is near. The day of judgment is near upon all nations. As you have done, it shall be done unto you. For you have drunk upon the holy, Lord's the holy mountain. So shall all the heathens drink continuously, and they shall be as they have not been. Come? Proverbs 11, verse 21.
Though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not be unpunished.
So go ahead, my queens.
But the seed of the righteous shall be delivered.
The seed of the righteous shall be delivered, brothers and sisters. So don't worry about these other nations. They're going to continue to jump on and be scoffers and say you're racist and you're speaking hate. God loves. And they try to justify people of our people getting killed. Oh, I know George Floyd got murdered, but guess what? Don't you know 10 years ago he was a thief? Oh, yeah, Mike Brown, yeah, don't you know he stole some Skittles or did this? Like, they will always try to justify their wickedness. But if you say, okay, did you know Esau, your forefathers, raped, robbed, and pillaged my forefathers? And let's say all of them start being, people started to slaughter them. And they go to court. And you try to justify yourself by saying, yeah, I did what your ancestors did to me. Would they be like, okay, bro, I understand. Not guilty. They're gonna throw you under the jail. Under the jail. They're gonna spit a dungeon right for you. Right? But that's how you know, family. So that's why the scripture says, though hand be joined with hand, the wicked was not going unpunished. So don't join no hand with these other nations. Don't trust these other nations, because as iron rusts, so will their wickedness, their wicked ways, family. So we got to stay grounded and stay and endure, because times are going to get rough before it get better. But guess what? He that endured to the end, the same shall be saved, family. Stay strong in these last days, brothers and sisters, because the time is near. The time is near, family. So it could have been anyone. This is that love we're supposed to have for one another, brothers and sisters. We have become too destroyed in this captivity. We have the opportunity to elevate in our minds and so forth. We're still lacking that love towards each other. This could have been your father, your brother, your son, your husband, your uncle, your friend. We have to look at it. When you see another brother get killed, you got to feel like, man, that's your brother getting killed. That's your sister getting killed. Don't be like, oh, he's a 2/3. What kind of madness is this? Crazy. You got to feel for it. When Moses seen his brother being, he didn't say, oh, that's a 2/3. No. It was ready to fight for his brother. You have to be able to stand up for the wickedness, right? So we got to be able to stand up for righteousness, brothers and sisters, and none of us is judged. None of us have the authority to know who is righteous and who is not, and who is 2/3 and who is going to be saved. None of us know that. Only the Lord. So we got to have that love. And when you see our people being oppressed, if you can do something about it, stand up. If you see people being oppressed at your job, stand up. Don't just remain quiet and, oh, I'm scared. No, stand up. I got fired at one of my jobs out here because I stood up. I didn't care because I can't hold my tongue. I can't. I have to speak up. I have to do it. When I see injustices, I will stand up, and I don't care what it will cost, because I would rather stand for righteousness than to hold my peace for wickedness. I would never do that. So we got to stand in righteousness forever and ever. All these other nations that's on Facebook or on YouTube being scoffers and so forth, you're going to have your day of judgment. Don't worry. You know what I mean? And you're going to see who the real Lord is when that black man crack open that sky. Come! All praises to Abinawa, Yahweh, Ba'ashim Mashiach Yahushua. Peace and blessings to Israel, and judgment upon you other nations. Shalom, family.